Okay guys, welcome to the Golden Fractal Rocket trading system. In this system you will learn to read price action like a pro. You will learn higher probability entries into the market. And you will learn why Bruce Lee was actually correct. And we'll talk more about Bruce Lee's words later. Just before I go ahead, I'd just like to read a disclaimer, and while I'm doing that, you're welcome to like, share or subscribe to this video if you feel you've got value from it. Please note that all trading involves risk. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. This video content is for teaching purposes only. Nothing shown here implies you can use this content to personally obtain positive trading results. 95% of traders lose money, do not trade without proper mentorship or apprenticeship or financial advice and an extended period of demo trading. Even the traders, even some traders who have all this still may not have the aptitude, skill or self-discipline and money management skill to be profitable. So there's a stark warning for you all. Trading is a difficult business and most people don't succeed at it. So it's best that you pay close attention and do your best to learn what this system has to teach you, and indeed any other system that you look at, and try and get your head round your approach to trading the markets. So off we go. The Fractal Rocket goal system, or the art of war as I like to call it, fractals are a golden key to properly understand price action. We can, using fractals, appreciate price action at a gut level, using fractals and build our knowledge of a price action from there. Why is this called fractal gold? Well, there are fractals, there is gold for the trader. Fractals can give the trader golden keys to areas of value and momentum with signals for trade openings. So here we have an up fractal and here we have a down fractal. An up fractal is where price action was lower than the high of the fractal candle for 2 candles and lower than the high of the fractal candle 2 candles afterwards. And the same is true for a down candle. Price action is higher for 2 candles before the down candle and higher for 2 candles after the down candle, which creates a fractal. Now you can put these, you don't have to have these fractals because I've just told you the rules for them, but to make your trading easy, if you press on that, and this will come up and you just click OK, and then you've got your fractals there. To get rid of them, just right click and delete the indicator and they all go. So you can see often where price reaches a low or a high, it's creating a fractal anyway. So they're quite easy to spot. You don't really need to have the indicator on. But if you're just learning this, it's probably best to just go on here, click the fractals, and they'll appear for you. So what you see here is a CHF JPY daily, and I've outlined here some price action. Prices generally making up and down moves, but higher highs up to here, and then at this point it starts to make lows, lower lows. Well, not quite here. Lower low, lower high, lower low, and at this point, not quite here. I don't know if we're quite here. Almost, yeah. I think we've made a lower low there, and the trend is. You can see price action, price is actually reversed through this 10 SMA line. Now, you don't have to have an SMA line, but again, while you're learning, it gives you an idea of how to read this kind of price action closely. And you can always turn these indicators off once you feel you're confident to do so. And so here we got price tracking down, and eventually it comes to our first up fractal in a downtrend, which is, hang on, let's see what's happened here. Something's not quite right there. So here's an up fractal in a downtrend, and I've put a line in here which shows you the slope of the trend and the up fractal. Well, let's just clear these out now, because you've seen that we're making lower lows and lower highs. So I'm just going to get rid of these. And you're going to love this trading technique because It's very easy, it's very simple, and it can be extremely profitable. You just need to get your head around it. And by the end of this video, you'll be taking some trades with confidence, I predict. However, again, all the usual warnings apply. This is the real world. You're trading in a real market. If you do decide to trade in a real market, test it out in demo by all means. But here we go. The price has been tracking downwards, and at any point where price moves upwards and the trend is moving downwards, we can see there is downward pressure on price. So as traders, we're always looking for the advantage of a pullback. So this one, trade pull back to here. We've got this diagonal from the low. Although this wasn't actually a fractal, you don't really need fractals. You can just trade price action, even where there are not actual fractal levels. But for the purposes of this trading session, we will stick to fractals. So I'll take that one out. Here's a fractal. You join up the fractal low with it won't be this low, because this low is a Sunday candle. In fact, on this one, it'll be that low, which it closes there. It almost disqualifies us because it's still a genuine fractal low, because price didn't close below this low. Although it flicked down below it, it didn't close below the low. So what we're looking for to really confirm that price has moved through a floor is, so this is called a floor. Price action has reached support. Another word for support is a floor. And here it's reached resistance. Another word for resistance is the ceiling. So once price reaches the floor, we find that it needs an extra push to go below it. And I'll try and explain that a bit more later. So why is this called the fractal rocket system? Because when you see a fractal with this little arrow underneath it, a good way of visualizing it is to think of it as a rocket, and these are the engines where all the fire comes out and all the thrust for the rocket comes out. And when you see thrust like this, what we're looking for is it to push the market upwards, to push the price action upwards until it hits a ceiling where it can't go any higher. So the rocket then has to come down and pick up fuel, and it picks up fuel by not going lower than this fractal and not going higher than this fractal. It bobs around in a horizontal direction, even though we can see that the trend here, I'll put in a trend line, the trend here is moving upwards. So all the while price is bobbing around here, it's picking up fuel to make another shot up into the heavens. So this is just a way of visualizing it to give you an idea of where we're going with the fractals. It's picking up fuel, picking up fuel, picking up fuel, and eventually we get the burners switch on there with that little fractal, and bang, up it goes to the heavens. And then it reaches the top here. There isn't a lot of fuel picked up here, but it's got the burners are on the other way now. The rocket's pointing downwards, and price action moves to the downside. And then when there is downward pressure this way, market's moving down, we've got downward pressure. We can see that when we get an up fractal, it really, even though it pushes up hard, it will not break through that downward pressure most of the time, because there is so much pressure to the downside. And we like that, because what this shows us is that the market's hit a floor, and then it's gone sideways. Floor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles, 6 trading periods, it's moved sideways. Now we don't see that fractal appear, we only see this fractal appear, but we know that this fractal appears when price makes this pin candle. And we like this pin candle because it's showing us, finally, after all this sideways price action, it's tried to boost itself to the top side. The bears have won out, back down it comes, and we are now ready to take a flight with this rocket to the downside. And so I'm going to put that, I don't know if this is as much as I can zoom it in. What's great about this is that this is a traditional pin candle, so I don't know if this is going to work, if you can see it. The open and close of the candle is in the bottom third, and the top shadow is 2/3 of the length of the candle. So that's a traditional pin candle, which in itself has a very high, let's try and get rid of that now, in itself has a very high, that's moved, I just want that along there, I'll move that out of there for now. So what we're getting here in another sense is a squeeze of price to the downside, and we're getting this triangle, trading triangle, and we all know about triangles. You've seen them in any number of price action videos. Wait for a break of price either to the upside or downside of the triangle, and you trade in that direction. Well, I'm sorry folks, but when you're getting a really strong downward trend and you see price trending sideways, and then you get a pin candle, well, 99, I won't say 99 out of 100, but 9 times out of 10, price is going to break through to the downside. It's a no-brainer. And if we zoom out a bit, you can see that trend. It's quite a strong trend downwards. You can see price action making lower highs and lower lows. It's quite a nice flowing cyclical market there. It's just going up and down with a nice bit of wave action. We're very happy that that's a strong downward trend. There's a brief lull where it picks up some steam, moves itself sideways, and if we draw some horizontal lines here, you can see the strength of this setup here. All these candles are in the purview of this pin, and the bodies are all in the purview of the pin, which so the longer you move sideways, we all know when we see sideways movement in the market that the longer it holds the sideways movement, especially when the market is trending, the more explosive the breakout's going to be. So we've got a trending market, we've got horizontal price action. So those are two things. Two things. We've got a pin candle, three things. We've got a fractal low, and we know that this is probably a fractal high. Four things. Trend is quite steep, and we've got this diagonal horizontal price action line, which implies that we've got some value left in this trade beneath the bottom of this pin candle to the floor of this down fractal. So, we've got a lot going for us in this trade, and I personally would trade this trade all day long if this price pattern and this formation came up. And, I'd put a stop above there, you'd put your sell stop there, and off you go to the races. I know you can see that there's a very big risk-reward return. We're at the beginning of the trend, that's the other thing to say. So if someone asks you, what is your perfect trade? You would say to them, I don't know what you would say. Do you have a ready answer? Do you have an answer? If someone said to you, hey Bob, what is the perfect trade? If you're trading, what is your perfect setup? Would you be able to say, you have a perfect setup? So this is a bit of an aha moment, because this brings us to the value of a down fractal in a downtrend and an up fractal in a downtrend. We've got downward pressure. It hasn't moved downward below the down fractal, and all this time selling pressure is building up, and we're thinking, well, what's going to happen? We're pretty sure where price is going to go. So what we'll do now is just discuss a phrase by a martial arts worthy. Well, I'm sure you've heard of him, Bruce Lee. And I've got a bit of a cold, so bear with me for the sniffing and the nose blowing and sneezes. Bruce Lee famously said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. As a trader, when you visualize your perfect trade, say a friend asks you, what is your perfect trade setup? Do you have a ready reply? Until you do, you can't hope to succeed as a trader. Now, you may have one perfect setup, you may have two, you may have five. But the fact is, when that setup comes along, you need to be able to recognize it and have a gut response to seeing it. And that's why, for this training purposes, why fractals are going to help you if you're not used to seeing this setup or reading price action. And basically what you want to see is market pulling back and see prices pulling back, and a really good, nice signal and reason to go back and join the trend. And we know that's the way price is going anyway, because we can see trend is going down and there's huge amount of downward selling pressure. So why would we take a trade to the upside? Well, we'd only take a trade to the upside if after this next candle just started to shoot upwards. And then we think, hang on a minute, something's going wrong. We need to change our direction. But, generally speaking, if we've got a trade to fire off just below that, 2 or 3 pips below the low, we're going to wait for price to just tag that, and then we know we're going off to the races on that sell trade. So basically, Bruce Lee, the reason I mentioned Bruce Lee is that he was a martial artist, and he always impressed me as a kid because he used to do impossible things like the 1-inch punch. He reckoned he could down a cow with a 1-inch punch and all sorts of weird stuff, and basically he was an absolute genius and master of his craft, and he learned, as he said, he practiced over and over and over, one move over and over and over until he had phenomenal control, strength and timing, and no one in their right minds would probably go up against Bruce Lee. I certainly wouldn't. So basically you need to train yourself, you need to look at this setups when they occur, and this is one such setup that I would look at. Every time I see it, I'm thinking, trend's just rolled over, so I've got room to move. I might have hit a quite an important resistance level there, so I'm thinking the market's got to bounce back. Trend's rolled over, prices moved under, in this case, the 10 simple moving average. In fact, there is a dotted line there, which is the 50. I don't know how that crept in, but in fact, if you were using trend lines, you want to watch for fanning out of 20 moving average to 50. So you might be getting the 50 there. The 20 is probably up here, fanning out, ready to curl under, but still fanning outwards. Maybe a 5, that would be fanning this way. So you're getting this outward fanning, which is a good sign of a downward trend. You'd also be able to, in fact, there's a trick here. If we extend this trend line, so if price is not touching this 10 moving average, it's opening and closing below it, that's a fair indication of a strong trend. Another indication is if you move this on MT4, if you move this to the neutral point, so if you press plus and zoom right in, it grays out, but if you click one away, this is what I use for a neutral point, and then I get my line tool out here, and I'm looking for about 30 degrees. So we've got, up there you've got 360 on the level, and if you look in the corner up here, on that sort of trending angle, we've got 330, which is just about perfect. So between 330 and 325, which gives 35 degrees off the horizontal, you've got a decent trend in my view. So if I see that sort of type of trend, when I'm zoomed to that level, I've already worked out with my charts what a good trend looks like. So I hope all opening closing below that. Of course, over here you might think the trend might be changing, but it's back down again. So essentially what you need to do is to be able to read this price action, and every time you see a pullback, you're thinking this should be triggering something in you now. Whenever you see that pullback, you've seen one here. Every time it hits a fractal, this one here. So, in fact, if you traded this one, that was your down fractal. then you had a bit of a pullback here. You still didn't get a reason really to think the market was turning. You had a down fractal here, but it didn't close below the low, and then suddenly you had this pin candle. So on this down fractal, you had a good reason to get into that trade, and then on this down fractal, you had a doubly good reason because you had that market broke below, retested, and then started to come down again. So you had two reasons in a row to get involved, and of course there was another down fractal there, and if you were on the 4-hour chart you could have probably got in a little higher on that down move, but that's another story, how you can drop down in time frames. So yeah, so the idea is to in your pattern recognition, in your brain, in your neural network, the gut feel that you get when you look at a chart is always what you want to see. In this type of fractal trade, it's a strong downtrend, and then you want to see a down fractal that's halted the market temporarily. Its prices then track back up towards the trend, and then you get a reason to get involved to go back downward again and take advantage of that huge momentum pressure that's built up in this little triangle of price. So if we put a triangle in there, what we're doing there, and there. So we've got this triangle of price. Price action's been wibbly wobbling down, hits this triangle, moves sideways. Momentum pressure's built up like that, and so you're really only going to go one way unless there's some big trend change or support level that you didn't take into account. But generally speaking, when you get that pin candle, you could trade that all day long and make some good trading moves. Now, one pin candle isn't the only story. You might get an up candle that's all green and then a down candle that's all red. And to me, that is a pin candle on a different time frame. So on a 4-hour, on a daily time frame, if you get a green candle going up and then a red candle going and closing near the bottom, that is pretty much a pin candle on a 2-day time frame. And there are examples of this all over the chart, and I'm just looking at one here. If you look here, price open here, it shoots up here, comes all the way down here, closes here. So actually we extend that. I'm not sure if we can do this very. Will that sit in the middle? No, so it goes down here. So this is this area here. Let's get rid of this. So this area here becomes so that's your pin candle. Now, does it conform to traditional classic standard pin candle rules? If you put your fibber there, okay, so the body of the candle opens and then closes within the 33% lower part of the candle. The upper shadow is over 2/3. It goes all the way down to 33 and further down. So you've got a lot going for you there. You've got a strong downtrend. Okay, it levels off slightly with this upshot, but then starts to curl away again with this when this puts in its down move. It's got a classic pin candle shape, and for my money, that's a good one to take on. And you will certainly get a 1-to-1 on this time frame. And if you manage your entries on the lower time frame, you'll certainly probably get more than that. So that's worth considering too. So it's worth looking out for different presentations of how these candles appear. Let me just X that one out. Delete. So there's another reason to get in there, because you've got your. So we're ignoring this candle because that's a Sunday candle. That's why I've got these volume bars open. So it shows me the Sunday candle, which is just a 2-hour trading period that I generally ignore. And I'll put these two candles together. So I'm going off the fractal being created off of this candle when the candle closes at the low. So then we're here. We might have been thinking for some bizarre reason, because we've bounced off this 10 SMA, we might have put a sell stop under there, but in fact the market then shoots back up and we think, oh, we're definitely out of this trade because the price has moved above the 10 SMA, this is going nowhere, and then suddenly price moves all the way back down again. It was almost an engulfing candle, not quite. I mean, it engulfs in terms of how far price went down, retraced back up, classic pin candle as I demonstrated earlier, and you're good to go at the bottom of that candle. So if you put your trade in a few stops below that, and then look, that's good for 53 54 points before you've even broken through the floor. And you know, if the trend is carrying on down, that there's still a lot of downward pressure and you're likely to go further. So depending on your trading style, you would have gone down further there. So here's then, we've got this next one. First candle breaks up, moving towards a sloping, nicely downward trending moving average. We then get a nice pin candle rejection, and it's a classic pin candle. The opening closes in the bottom third, nice 2/3 upper shadow at least. It's straddling the SMA, which I like to see, is the pin straddling the SMA and the body of the candle below, signifying it wants to go further down. The fractal candle actually appears when this candle finishes forming, and it's gone up, hasn't got anywhere near the top there, and so we'll probably be looking at putting a trade sell stop and a stop loss at the top there, and on a 1-to-1 we've got 66 points, and yeah, we get in there quite easily. So then we carry on. I don't know. All right, we're on because of a day chart there. Bear with me. This is looking quite psychedelic now. I think we've got to go back to the day chart. All my templates are coming in, my emails. Sorry, excuse me while I get rid of them. I don't know why it chose then to start giving me emails. Here we go. So coming back to the video, we've now, I think did we do this one? We did this one, and of course price is now, we did this one, price is now broken up past the 10 SMA. So although you get a pin candle, you could wait for price to break down again and take your chances. Frankly, as soon as the SMA levels off here, I'm not interested. Again, some traders might try and get in here when price broke down. I'm still not interested, and when I see the SMA starting back into a downtrend, there's a lot of downward pressure. There's quite an aggressive, well, that would be quite an aggressive entry there, but I think that would be a good entry. Obviously, when the angle of this is steeper, you've got more value. There we've got our Sunday candle, so that's candle 1, candle 2. So in fact, it would be at this part of the candle you'd probably placed your trade. Now it might have been tagged there, but your stop was up there, so you'd be okay. And then you'd be riding this one all the way down from this point here, probably just about there. And you've got 60 points before you get to the floor. And because you know the market's trending down, you might have a lot more in it. So whether you're a 2-to-1 or 1-to-1 risk reward, or I think that even does, that does more than 3-to-1. So I hope that's giving you an idea. And this is another way of looking at the market. When it's trending very quickly, if you're a day trader, day one trader, which I know quite a few of you are, and you see these pullbacks happening, but there are no fractals, you can just put some down. Let's see, the market starts to trade above there, but there are no down fractals. But just to show, if you switch to, what's this, the 15th of May, something like that, here we go. You've seen the price move above, starting to make higher highs, higher lows there, and you've got a perfect pin candle hitting the 10 SMA. This time you're going upwards, so you're drawing your trend lines when price comes back down, and you'd get involved there. Buy stop there, sell stop just under there, and going up. You could look to trade this one here, and here you've got a pair of railroad tracks. So basically, for me, that's a pin candle on a higher time frame. Over here, you haven't got any kind of fractals, so you might choose to drop down further. So let's put another vertical and see if we can get that. See if there's an entry there. So there's a vertical. It may not be, but it's worth having a look. We go to the hourly. We've got our trade. So here we go. Yeah, right, spot on. We're on the hourly. We've got our up fractal there. We're chasing down here. We've hit the 10 SMA on the hourly, and price has broken through. We might have our buy stop there, but in fact, if price moves lower and then we get this, we haven't seen this down fractal yet, but we can assume that if price makes another high, that we're going to get that down fractal. It doesn't matter, because we know we've got upward buying pressure, and again we get the triangle. And in fact, this is even better than the previous ones I've shown you, and the reason is that before we've had horizontal price action on a downward trend. Now on this one, we've got a very steep, almost 45-degree angle hitting upward price action. So that's an even stronger indication that price is going to shoot upwards. We don't even need our pin candle here, although pin candle would be nice. We just literally put our buy stop there, because we can see the market's turned around. And if you put the line tool on, you can see it'll make this little V, and we trade V's all the time. That gets us into, when you see a V, you'll know you're onto a winner. And we start to go upwards again. And then on the hour chart, we can trade the hour chart if we so feel. So there's another one on the hour chart. There's another one on the hour chart. And you can go along all day flicking between time frames. Obviously, if you're a day trader, you might have the patience to wait it out. You might want to take your stop and fills off the 4-hour chart, even though you identify your trades on the daily chart. But that's the way you roll. And there's another one here. You've got a nice pin off here, although not technically a classic pin candle. You've got another up candle here. And you're coming down, price is kind of flattening out. So you might stay up, or you stay out, or you might decide to risk one of these, which in fact, in a choppy market, in a ranging market, you can play these up and downs all day. We're going, you might trade that one, you might not. You don't know the market's going to trace up there, but you might do. And this one here, where would you go? Probably to there. There's not a lot in that one. I'd like to stay away from ranging markets. I prefer trend trading. It's a lot safer. Here again is a beautiful railroad track. As soon as you see this, you've actually got a pin candle here again. I'm sure you've spotted it, those of you who are used to seeing these. A pin goes to there, which is the bottom of that. The open was there. In fact, the top of the pin was actually at the top of that candle. Let's move this away. for now. I've got a pin there. This is coming down to there. And I think it might be a classic pin. We'll just check. If it is, it adds even more weight to this, taking this trading opportunity. It is a classic pin. The open and close, maybe just within 33%. And you've got this very long extended sideways move here. The only thing that would put me off this trade, see from here, you've got price essentially moving sideways. I mean, if you took this as your master candle and the price action hasn't closed above or below this, this would be good to go, because even though your trend is flattening off, I would probably wait for a break of this here just to play. You get another pin candle here, another classic pin candle. So essentially you've got a 8-hour pin candle, and you've then got a daily pin candle there. Sorry, not a 48-hour pin candle, and then you've got a daily pin candle, 24-hour pin candle, which is, they're all telling you the same thing. They're all saying go up, go up. So probably to play it safe, you'd wait for a break up here and take the ride upwards. Although that's presents slightly differently. Those are the kinds of pullbacks you need to be watching out for, and you need to be watching out for these horizontal ones. And of course, the steeper ones. Here we've got a nice steep downtrend. I'd be flicking down to a 4-hour to catch that one. Actually, I've missed it there. So you've got a nice, prices come down. You're seeing, although there's let's see, prices moving up, you don't actually get any fractals. In fact, you don't need any fractals. You don't have to have fractals. Fractals are just a way of showing you the principle here, which is pullbacks into the trend, and the steeper the pullback, the better. And you might get steeper ones on the 4-hour chart. So why not? So now we see that's really sloping down there. So you might go to the 4-hour chart at that point, see if there are any trades in there. And here we get them straight away. We get that one there. We get fractal trade here. And fractal trades are great because they kind of point the way, help you know that you're doing the right thing. This one here. That's very long, that bars. So that's basically the message. I mean, we can look at another currency just to show you. Let's see, what should we choose? Let's see. So this is a cross pair. Let's choose GBP USD. That's a nice bouncy pair. This is a 4-hour chart. So yeah. So what's this telling you here? So what I've written here is basically you do not have to trade any of these. What is your gut telling you? What do you stand to lose? Is it a no-brainer trade? Why would you trade? Would you take conservative or aggressive entry? Is your trade from an area of value? These are all things I would look at. Personally, I love the pin candle. You can look at previous support and resistance for your pins to trade off, which gives you extra ammunition to trade. And you can see that when an area of support is broken, pushed through and closed below, this support area then becomes resistance for the next bit of price action, which happens here quite nicely to demonstrate. So this is a horizontal one, but I've got a steep trend line, so I'd take that one. This is a nice steep one. This is almost an engulfing down candle. I know we're getting a bit of upward action there, but we just get steep downward pressure, and look at that flies down. If you'd put your entry there and a little bit above there, you'd have had a bit of a heart-stopping moment as price sort of, was it going to go up any further, or you might put your stop slightly higher, but you got a nice reward there. Again, on this one, would you have got in there? Possibly. Maybe not. And then the trend switches, you might just take that pin candle because it's so emphatic on its own. You might wait for this pullback. You might switch down to an hourly time frame. So those are all the things you might consider. I mean, look at this one drop off here. That's got to be a no-brainer for a 1 hour. The 4 hours flying down. In fact, I took a trade off this recently. I took this trade here, and I don't know why, it just suddenly appealed to me, and I got in on the hour chart. So this, yeah, you can see some evidence here. I'm not sure, even here, price is dropping so quickly. You're going to have to be sharp to get in here. You might have done. It really starts to separate. Got another moving average, a 20 moving average there. I think because GBP is so volatile, sometimes another moving average does help. Let's try JPY. And this is a daily chart, and these examples are everywhere on USD JPY. It's a nice currency to trade. If you just scroll through, you can take all this stuff off. You don't need any of this. You can take all of this off. This is just, let's see if we can do it this way. Indicators, objects list. We can just take all these off. And what you'll see is you don't need any of this stuff. You don't need fractals, you don't need moving averages. You could just do all this by looking at the chart. It just is totally obvious once you get your eye in. Good. All should have gone now. Oh, we've still got a 50. We'll get rid of that. So here we are. You can see prices going up here, higher, and starts to track downwards. So you know price has broken through this low. So now you're looking for pullbacks to the trend, which is along here. Or the pullback to the trend. So down fractals, you're looking to trade up. Up fractals, you're looking to trade down. You don't even need the fractal tool there. You just look at price action. Price action's bobbed back down, but the trend is really moving up. So now in your gut, you can do this automatically, and you have become an instinctive price action trader. The trend is flattening out here. You can still trade this choppy market. Watch this. So you trade up there, and you're trading up at the break of there. You're trading down. It's up fractal upwards. Get a pin candle there. Closes below, gives you a reason to go down. You're going downwards. You trade your down fractal there. Price is going down, then breaks through there. It gives you a reason to go up. And you can do this all day long with fractals. They just tell you basically how the market, it gives you a sense of how that market is moving, where to get in and out. As I say, I look for double confirmation. It's not enough for me just to have the trending market. I want to see some candle confirmation. I want to see these V shapes, either upwards or downwards, which if you go to your line tool, you can see them here. These are nice confirmations. I want to see candle patterns, and particularly I want to see pin candles, the best pattern of all for me, rejecting price, and classic ones where the body of the pin is within the lower third, and the upper 2/3 are shadow. I hope you found that useful. Please don't forget to give me a like, and catch you on the next one.